I'm Barack Obama.
That is former President Barack Obama surprising the crowd at Crooked Con in early November. Crooked Media was co-founded by three of Obama's former staffers, Jon Favreau, Jon Lovett, and Tommy Vietor. Their convention brought thousands to Washington. Their podcasts generate 25 million downloads a month. This week, I sat down exclusively with the co-hosts of Pod Save America inside their Crooked Media headquarters here in Los Angeles. Well, let's talk for a bit about you guys and how successful you've been.
Finally.
Which we saw.
Finally, so
favorite topic.
We saw.
Now this is good stuff.
We saw the Crooked Con, right? Which is amazing if you think about it. That thousands of people traveled to see you guys and to be a part of this convention that you put on that brought together people on the left of the party and the center of the party and the right of the party and all sort of having a conversation. What did that feel like for you? The fact that you think about how you've grown this company to the part that you have a convention of people that are coming out to see you guys.
So really proud. An amazing team made that happen. And I don't know, you've been to conferences, we've been to conferences. I had not really thought about how hard they are to put on. It was an Herculean endeavor.
Yeah.
And from the beginning, we wanted to make Crooked a place where everybody that was part of the pro-democracy movement felt welcome, and that building a political movement people would want to join requires having the kind of party people would want to attend. And it was a great proof point of that. We had people that have fought each other brutally on the internet, meeting and actually realizing that they could have a conversation.
Woke Sharia, baby.
Donald Trump thinks that he should have control, that democracy is too messy, that you want to dominate and you want to make people afraid of each other. And democracy is the antidote to that. And part of that is not just about how we have a government, it's how we treat each other and how we practice these ideas. And that includes getting together and understanding that you might not always agree, but that's okay.
You guys did your show there, and you guys always introduce your names.
I'm Tommy Vietor.
I'm Dan Pfeiffer.
I'm Barack Obama.
And he walks out, who brought all you guys together so many years ago. Was that emotional for you, to feel the crowd, to see him there, to think about the journey you guys have been on together?
Unexpectedly, a little bit, yeah. I hadn't ever seen him sort of surprise a crowd that big before.
I missed you too, which is why I came.
The coolest thing was watching the faces of the people in the crowd be really excited and react to him, and that was pretty meaningful. It was a cool moment.
I love them. I love you.
We've done a lot of live shows. The crowds are great. They're loud. I've never heard anything like when he walked out. It was truly deafening for a full minute, and I think that speaks to his enduring popularity, not just in the party but in the country. If you look at polling, and that whole week that the Crooked Con was amazing. I mean, look, luck and timing is a lot of life. We were very lucky that we had it after the election that went so well and before Democrats in the Senate caved on the shutdown, and people were pretty fired up. But I think what it told me was that people are looking for leadership. They're looking to be around each other in a scary, dark time. And if we can help convene and make that happen, it's a good thing.
I mean, the Democrats have not had anywhere close to as unifying a figure or as electric a figure since 2008. What do you think is the most important lesson that you've learned from Barack Obama that can be applied going forward?
There is a politics of addition, of persuasion, that was so core to what Obama as a candidate represented and then as a president represented, that this idea that being plain spoken, being direct with people, but never dismissing people you haven't yet reached or persuaded. The imagining the possibility of building a really big coalition that brings everybody in, that organizer mentality. I think often politics on the internet, and I think Democrats who are too online or too afraid of the kinds of people that yell at them on the internet forget that sometimes, and I think people they miss that.
So he's a guy named Barack Hussein Obama, black man from the south side of Chicago, and the speech in 2004 that sort of launches him onto the national stage is maybe one of the most patriotic speeches that I can remember.
There is not a liberal America and a conservative America. There is the United States of America.
He tried to reclaim sort of fundamental American founding values for the story he was trying to tell about where he wanted to take the country and where Democrats wanted to take the country. And I do think after 10 years of Donald Trump in our lives as the main character in American politics, I think I'm looking for candidates who run for president in 2028 who will think about sort of the larger story to tell about the country that sort of reclaims what it means to be an American from the vision of the country that I think is much narrower and crueler that Donald Trump has left us with over the last decade.
Certainly his supporters see him as somebody who had a lot of class and gravitas. And, you know, the famous Michelle Obama line.
When they go low, we go high.
And there are a lot of Democrats increasingly, like Governor Newsom, who have kind of said, that's a different era. We can't do that anymore. Are you one of those?
You know, I feel like that that line's got a little twisted over time. I mean, I feel like when they go low, we go high was a perfect line for Michelle Obama in that moment. I don't think she ever implied, or certainly not President Obama ever implied, that we wouldn't fight back and punch back hard. It's sort of more about how you do it. I think Gavin Newsom's team has had a lot of fun with Donald Trump on Twitter, and I think they've done it in a smart way, like Jon said, to get attention. I think the average voter, though, does want a unifying voice, like a president that actually does believe the cliche that, you know, half of you voted for me, but like I represent everyone. And I think we're going to swing back to that. It might feel sort of inauthentic in this moment of authoritarianism, but I do think it's what voters ultimately want.
Congrats on your podcasting success. You're one of the most popular podcasts out there. You recently had an experience with The Hollywood Reporter where you sat down with Ben Shapiro and Mel Robbins and Dax Shepard and other podcast hosts. What did you learn from that, sort of sitting together?
You know, I had never met Ben before, and
What'd you think?
He was very nice, cordial. We didn't talk for like a long time.
Yeah.
I'm sure Jon would argue the opposite.
You know, you meet people in person and you realize it's not going to like change my views of their political views or the intensity of the disagreement that I have. But when you're not just like tweeting at each other and you're just like talking in person, it's, you know, you can have like a civil conversation, and I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah, and you guys are part of this crop of potential nominees for a Golden Globe for Best Podcast. What would that mean to you to win a Golden Globe?
It would mean the world to me. Look, I always assumed it would happen for screenwriting, but now that they're going to do it for podcasts, sure, we'll take it. Podcasting, we fell into it because we were just looking for a place to have conversations that we didn't feel like were being had, and that treated people like they were more than just observers of politics, but actually had some agency. And it turns out there were a lot of people that felt the same way. And I think what's been great about the democratization of media has been a lot of people can find their way to an audience where before there have been a lot of people standing in their way. The problem is there's a downside to that.
Right.
And we are drowning in noise and misinformation and propaganda, and now AI that is everywhere. We want to build an alternative to right-wing propaganda. That requires getting as many people as possible to discover what we're doing, and one way we can do that is getting in front of an audience that might not have heard about us before, and sure.
And a big part of that also is not just having people listen, but then having people get out and vote. And that's where Vote Save America, I would imagine you've registered almost 1 million people over the years, raised $70 million. Is that the most fulfilling thing you guys do?
Absolutely. I mean, look, basically, we want Vote Save America. Go to votesaveamerica.com if you want to check it out. To be like a one-stop shop for activism, and to kind of be like the Moneyball version, where we're not going to tell you to do things that we don't think are worth your time or that we wouldn't do personally. So that includes, you know, where to donate your money, what campaigns are the most targeted, what volunteer activities you can do. So we're really, really proud of that. And honestly, that was the best part of CrookedCon, was a lot of people who are part of Vote Save America were there, and you get to spend time with them in person. And every time that happens, when you're out knocking doors or like just interacting in the real world, you just feel like a little bit better about democracy and the future of the country.
And to speak on that, and maybe we end on this, you guys And the Obama campaign was all about hope. And there's a lot of people right now who do not feel hope, who feel hopeless. What gives you hope?
I mean, I would tell people that, if you look at these off-year elections that we just had, thought Democrats would do well because that's what happens in an off-year election, but sort of the scale of the margin should tell people that, the political instincts you have about what people want, what's right, what's wrong, they're not completely off. And if you work hard, if you go out there and volunteer and organize, things are bad now. No use sugarcoating it, but things don't have to stay bad, and you have a role in fixing it.
What gives you hope?
First of all, I'll just say I'm not motivated by hope. I am motivated by anger, mostly.
Most people are.
And the Globes.
Yeah, and the Golden Globes.
Yes.
And my friends at the Hollywood Foreign Press who do incredible work, for whom we express nothing but gratitude.
Yeah.
It's very hard. Donald Trump, his great skill is he makes people's worst qualities more important. He does that for senators. He does that for members of Congress. He does that for voters. He appeals to the worst in us. And that's really dispiriting for someone like that to come back from an insurrection and win again. Someone can appeal to those base instincts and succeed. But we have had leaders that have appealed to the best parts of us, which are just as true. They don't maybe not feel as true right now, but our job is to create a politics that reminds people of those qualities. And time again in American history, those qualities have won out, even after very dark periods. And democracy is it is stronger than it looks, and authoritarianism is always weaker than it looks. And that can be hard to see day to day, but it just remains the truth.
Tommy, what gives you hope?
I mean, I think we're old enough now to have a little bit of political perspective, and I was working in politics in 2004 when we lost the re-elect to George W. Bush, and Democrats got wiped out in the midterms in 2002, and then lost again in 2004, and we lost the Senate Majority Leader, Tom Daschle. And it felt about as bleak as it could get for Democrats. There was, Karl Rove was writing op-eds talking about a permanent new Republican majority. And then 4 years later, we elected president, a man named Barack Hussein Obama. And it's an extraordinary thing, and it's certainly not guaranteed to happen again. But I think, politics in this country is a pendulum, and it can swing one way and it can swing back. But we've got to be a part of that process, helping that pendulum move. So,
how has this job changed your guys' friendship, brought you together, changed the way you think of each other, this sort of crazy experience of being in this?
We no longer make eye contact after about 5:30 p.m. Full silence. This is a performance.
We'll walk out of this studio just to our own corners of the office. No, we share in this big office, we share a small office.
Okay.
And
you couldn't talk to the bosses about getting some space?
They've offered, and we're like,
and I keep saying no. I like to be in a room with my boys.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I mean, look, a lot of people go to the office every day and aren't friends with anyone at work and don't get to do things that they care about with people they care about. And so we're very, very, very lucky. And it's frankly a continuation of the bonds you build in an administration or on a campaign where, a lot of days really suck. Mm-hmm. But through that shared experience, you build tight friendships and, you become closer.
Well, thank you for welcoming us in here. It's a great office, and really appreciate all this time. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
I think you bought it.
Well done. Thanks, guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.